I'm Stuart Bloor and I'm on a roach session. I'm on a lake that I fished, just getting my rod set up here. I'm on a lake that I've fished this year already a few times, and one of the interesting things from a specimen hunter's perspective is that although, let's get my quiver tip there, although I've caught roach, I haven't actually had any small fish. They've all been decent size. In fact, I've had them to just over £2 and certainly plenty pushing that particular weight. So that really interests me, of course. Whilst it's good to catch small fish, sometimes we want to get among something better, don't we? I'm ready to cast out now. I'm fishing a cage feeder, 20-gram cage feeder. I'll hear that carrion crow trying to get in on the action. I'll write about my rig and my setup in the article. In fact, I will have a few sessions on this particular venue and I intend to try a few different things. So I'll share all that in the written piece, and of course my reasoning why I will be trying various things, because that's important. An angling video isn't just about watching someone catch fish. It's actually trying to understand why the person did the things they did, and I will hopefully communicate that in the article. So rather than just saying I fished this and I caught that, I try to communicate why I fished with that and therefore it worked, and the reasoning behind all of that. I hope that makes sense. I'm just saying basically that as anglers we need to think a little bit deeper sometimes. So rather than just look at pictures in magazines of anglers holding fish, which is great, we need to try to get into the minds of those people, if you like, try and maybe communicate with them or read what they write and find out why they did the things that they did. That's important. Otherwise we'll never develop in our own angling. Looking at pictures of fish will never take us on from where we are now. And of course, fishing a cage feeder, I'll be using some ground bait. That's actually standard brown crumb. I will be using a white maggot on the hook, so I'll put some maggots in there, and then I'm going to add some dip as well. Boilie dip, as we tend to refer to these sort of products. Obviously dipping boilies in, but also we can use them to add flavour to standard brown crumb like I'm using now, or we can put them into bags, cut up meat, put them in, freeze them, draws the flavour in, all of that sort of thing. Lots of options really with what we call the boilie dip. So I'm using this brown crumb, and what this dip, particular one, will do, because it is a sweet flavour, it's also red as well, so it will colour the ground bait, and then I'll be fishing white maggots, if you like, over that. Sometimes we try to colour coordinate our bait, our ground bait, our total approach to the session, but other times we might want to contrast it, and that's what I'm doing on this particular session. It's a clear lake, and what I'm intending to do is to fish that sort of darker ground bait, not too dark that you fish don't see it, but that darker ground bait, which as well as being a carrier is also there to draw the fish in, keep them feeding. Roach in particular will love these crumbs that are all over the bed of the lake, and then the white maggots will stand out against the bait. So not just colour coordination, or not colour coordination in this instance, but rather a contrast. Again, it's just an approach that I've thought through, and I try to reason, I try to think like a fish, put it into practice, and when it comes together, it's brilliant. Just cast out for the first time. The first few casts, I will do them fairly regular, because I want to get some bait out there. Of course, I do have the option of putting some ground bait out as well, but certainly at this time of the year, where the water temperature has dropped from what it was in the summer, and the fish aren't going to be as active, then we need to work on the principle that whilst we can always put more in, once it's in there, I'm afraid that's it. So if you put too much out and there's maybe just one or two fish feeding, then the chances of picking up your hook bait very minimal. So I'm taking a cautious, optimistic of course, always go fishing with the anticipation of catching something, but I'm taking a cautious approach, particularly early on. See how it goes. It'd be great if I start to get some taps and some fish. That would be wonderful. But here's the ground bait. It was brown crumb, and as you can see now, it has a red tinge to it, and that of course is courtesy of the bait dip, the boilie dip. About my 4th or 5th cast, and I'm into a fish, but although I don't like to use the word but really, but it's a perch, not a roach. I don't even need the net for this one, and there it is, just a small one, as you can see. Of course I do like perch, and they are my favourite fish. This one is just hooked in the lip, so that's out, and it's time to put the fish back. The light's fading fast, and I'm into my second fish, which is another perch. As you can tell now from the screen, it's pretty dark. It's now time to put the isotope on the rod. Got my head torch on, of course. I've had a few perch this afternoon, and now hopefully into the roach feeding spell. This is the time, of course, if you do use a camera to do any of your own videos, ideally you get a light on the camcorder, and I've got one on mine, so that will be on next time you see me. There you go, nice and bright, isn't it? If you do shoot film footage like this, there's a bat out there. Looks like a pipistrel. Yeah, it's a pipistrel. That's good. It is a mild night now. It was fairly chilly this afternoon, and it's actually quite mild now. But back to the the issue of cameras and camcorders and stuff. If you do film and you decide to put some of your videos on YouTube, like a lot of us do, then of course you do need a light, like I've got now. If you're night fishing, of course. There's a lot of my stuff does revolve around night. Oh, little pull then. Yeah, into one. There's a little. Forgot what I was saying. Yeah, need to get a light. I'll tell you what I'll do in this article as well. I'll tell you what camcorder I use, and also my camera as well. So I do get a few folks ask me from time to time what stuff I use, and I'll tell you it's a perch. Just at the side there, a little bit bigger than the others, but doesn't need the net. There it is. Not very big, but always welcome. No roach yet, but I've noticed in the margins some white-clawed crayfish. They are here, I've seen them before, so not a surprise. But I'm going to capture some of those on film. They're our native crayfish, and they're very endangered, been pushed out by the invaders that have come in. The bigger crayfish, the signal crayfish, that do carry disease as well, which has been the main problem. But you do get waters where they are thriving, few and far between nowadays. But this lake I'm on actually is one of those particular venues. So let me show you some white-clawed crayfish.